శ్రీ గురుభ్యో నమః. అందరికీ నమస్కారం. See, one disciple has asked his master this question: Master, I have heard that enlightenment is casual. It just happens. But our endeavors and efforts actually take us away from this state, as our efforts are only mind games. So, I am not able to give up my search, as this kind of efforts as a part of search have permeated all through my life as far as I can remember, and I cannot digest the statement that enlightenment is a casual and it just happens with, and our efforts are only obstacles to realize that state. Please clarify. Then the master said to him, the question asked by you is a very fundamental question for every seeker on the spiritual path, because everybody wants to attain to that by making rigorous efforts in his search for the God or divinity or nature. So, let us examine. You see, if you think that it is casual and make all efforts to realize, then it may not happen in spite of your all efforts. If you think that it is a casual and no efforts are necessary, then too you will miss it, because you have not made any efforts. So, this is the mystery and paradox of this state. So, the reality is that you have to make all efforts possible, but it is not going to happen through your efforts. See, if you siege to make the efforts, you will miss it. The reason is that your efforts, in fact, make you eligible and ready and vulnerable to receive what happens in that direction. I mean, when that realization of the divinity happens, are you ready to recognize it? Are you ready to receive it? Are you ready to become a host to receive that divine guest in your life? See, it is always happening. It always happens. It is not that something is going to happen, that realization in future. It is in the present. It is happening. But you are not ready and you are not able to see it and to recognize it. You see, Buddha has realized. So when Buddha has realized, entire humanity can realize it, can be aware of it. But why? Because Buddha was ready to receive it. He was ready to recognize it. He was ready to experience it. And Buddha, it happened to Buddha after he made all efforts. He made several practices under different teachers for 6 years continuously. Even those teachers were astonished at the honesty and sincerity of Buddha. They told him, we know only this much, and what we know, we have asked you to do it. But you are very sincere in your efforts. This much, all this much we know and we have shared with you. Please move on. We can't help you anything beyond this. So he has moved from one teacher to other and did all the practices prescribed by those teachers. But it has not happened. Nothing happened to him because of the efforts. So, in fact, he has put the efforts very rigorously, practiced very intensely, and as it never happened to him, he got frustrated. He got frustrated at his efforts. he realized that it is not going to happen through his efforts. His efforts are futile. So, when this understanding that the efforts are futile, after putting all efforts and out of frustration, when he has come to that understanding that efforts are futile, then the ego, effort means, putting efforts means there is a doer, there is a feeling of doership. So when it disappeared, then it has happened. You see, sun rises to everybody, those who have got eyes, but it never happens to a blind man. So if you go to a doctor, you have to go to a doctor to cure your blindness. The medicines given by the doctor are not going to create sunrise. It is going, the medicine cures his blindness. Then his eyes open up. His blindness is cured. So when he opens his eyes, when a blind man gains back his eyesight, and when his eyes are open, then he will be able to see the sunrise which is happening regularly, always, all over the world. So the point here is, when you are vulnerable, when you are ready to receive that divine guest, when you become receptive, when you are open, then that happens, that realization happens, as happened to Buddha. Efforts are necessary to purify you, to purify all your perceptions, to purify you from all the worldly accumulations. The efforts are necessary. So the efforts helps you to purify your inner being, which is covered with all the innocence and ignorance of the world. So dreams are objective. When someone of his liking appears in the dream, it is a subjective phenomena. So, but a man who dreams, whatever he wanted during the daytime, say somebody is after wealth or diamonds or some other thing. So he dreams of it in the night. But when he gets up early in the morning, he realizes that what he felt was a dream. But the dreams are only desires. Whatever dream you get, it's only a desire. What you felt is only a desire that has manifested in the dream. So, the realization of the ultimate truth and divinity happens only when you are awake after all your longings have disappeared. The Buddha, the Buddha's phenomenon, on that day it happened. So when he is fully awake to the understanding that the efforts are futile and only it is the grace of the divinity, and whatever happens, it happens from the beyond. So when he understood this, he was utterly relaxed, free of all the efforts, and then in the total relaxation, in the total peace and joy, when he slept under that Bodhi tree one evening, it happened. So, efforts are necessary. Efforts are necessary to get purified, but the efforts will not, in that way, will not get and help you in any kind of a realization. The realization that awareness, something comes from the beyond. So we have to be, a true seeker has to be ready to see it and to recognize it and to receive it gracefully and joyfully. So efforts, when you make all possible efforts on the path, then divinity manifests itself in your utter, honest purity. So